Um, Welcome to the podcast. Taking a bit of a hiatus, a bit of a holiday, but we're back. The Australian contingent. We'll talk about various things, football, maybe touch on a little bit of basketball as well. Got Panathafan, and we do have Nick. Um, Long time, fellas, long time. We had that little bit of a break. Obviously, things going on, personal life, Europe summer and just work, family. Let's kick things off. A lot to talk about since our last podcast. We'll just discuss overall what happened with Braga. Then we'll talk about the Europa League. How do you guys see and feel about Braga?
Missed opportunity, in short.
Yeah, I would agree. I think the chances were there for that to be our game and to qualify, and it's just sad that we didn't pull it off. We created the chances in Athens to pull it off, but
So close,
unfortunately.
so close, yet so far.
Yeah.
We could have easily have nabbed an early goal in that second leg, and then the game gets turned on its head. And with that crowd, that's a whole separate discussion in itself. The crowd, the scenes, the atmosphere. I've seen the YouTube videos. I'm so envious. What I would have given to being in that stadium.
It was an arm wrestle, really. Both legs could have gone either way. Overall, I think it was just the quality of the personnel that was the difference. Bruma just really had the both legs of his life, like first and second leg. He really killed it. Even Ruiz was danger. Horta was danger. The defense looked a bit shaky in that first leg. We got that late goal via Mancini, which gave us hope after being 2-0 down, so made it 2-1. I felt that game was at at Leoforo instead of Oaka, we probably would have got the result. I just feel that intimidation in that small stadium, because Braga was just sitting back that whole game. They just were just sitting back and absorbing, and we had those chances. I think the big chance went to that Vayanidis header where, yeah, had it gone anywhere else directly than the keeper, that's the leg right there. Put the pressure back on Braga.
I think it goes to what we've discussed in our previous podcasts about our ability to score. And we did score in some of the earlier legs, in particular against Dnipro. But against Braga in that second leg, the chances were there. We just, whether it's Mancini, who was in the 6-yard box when the crosses came in from, I think it was Palacios, where there's that header that you mentioned, Sterg with Vayanidi. There's a couple of other chances there that really we had the opportunity to put them away, and we didn't. And that's where, with again, quality of our strikers, their ability to really pull something out of nothing or out of half a chance doesn't quite seem to be there. And that's both Sporter and Foti, who, no disrespect to Foti, I think he's come along really well, but is he a killer striker / poacher? No, he's not. And I think that's what cost us in that second leg. Yes, we copped a goal from Bruma, but really, when we copped that, it was probably what,
80 something, 83rd, I think.
It was like the 80-something minute, yeah.
I think 83rd.
And then after that, we had, was it Jurisic? It opened goal when a ball fell for him and he put it past the left post. So, and you think he'd be able to put it away. And that would have been 1-1, a few minutes left. All right, yeah, not much time left, but still maybe gave us half a chance. So to me, that's probably the disappointing part, and it shows that overall, Ivan as a coach, credit to him, he's fantastic. He was able to give us a fair shot at qualifying to the group stage Champions League. I never thought I'd say that. But it's probably just didn't have that quality in the end to get the job done.
Yeah.
I was angry, like the initial 24, 48, 72 hours that passed. I was just down in the dumps about it, pretty pissed off. But now that, we've let it pass, we've processed it, we've had our group drawn out for the Europa League, I'm G'd up for it. And that's our level, really. I think we're going to be very competitive.
Yeah. And to Panatha fans' point about Forty, you're right. I don't think he's a killer. I think he's an excellent support player as well. We've seen him develop, drop back, feed the ball. Where he fed the ball in the first leg to Mancini for that goal. I think that's what he does well. He also did the same thing for Bernard against Marseille. So he's an excellent player that he plays off. He's not gonna score you 20 goals in a season. He's not going to be that striker. I think he's more of a classic supporting forward.
Yeah, of
You know,
course.
and it's probably something I wouldn't mind seeing a little bit more come to the season, and we can discuss that in a miscellaneous sort of thing. But yeah, I'll get back to that later. But in regards to the Braga tie, it was an arm wrestle, but in my opinion, Braga's quality did shine, and they did have some fantastic players.
They've been there before. Like they've got overall, they're not as big a club as Panathinaikos, but they've broken the big three in Portugal. They've well and truly broken that. And not too long ago, they played in a European final. They've got guys that have been there year in, year out.
Yeah, and
we don't have it. On
was,
your point though, with Ioannidis, this is where I think a fully fit and motoring Aitor can make a difference. He's more of a goal scorer than our strikers, and Ioannidis is the support player there. Then we'll see what we can do.
And I was gonna say with Marseille as well. You saw how Forty was getting a lot more involved. They just allowed him to get a lot more involved, especially when he came on as a sub. So yeah, it's a strange one, but yeah, like I said, we'll discuss more better. But kudos to Braga. They did well. They did well over the both legs, and like I said, arm wrestle, but they were the deserved team to progress. But we are in Europa League. It's no small feat. It's actually, you look at the competition, you look at the teams, and I'd say that we avoided a nasty draw compared to the other Greek teams. I think, apart from PAOK that's in the Conference League, in terms of when you talk purely Europa League, I think we have the best group for us to progress. We got Villarreal, we've got Rennes, and we got Maccabi Haifa.
Haifa, yeah.
Yes.
They wear green. They're the ones that beat Olympiacos last year.
Yeah, so you can't take them lightly based on that. So, what do you guys think of the group, and where do you think we can finish?
Nick, you were quite optimistic when we were talking before.
I was quite optimistic. I honestly, I don't think we're going to get last. I don't think we're going to get fourth. At worst, absolute worst, I can see us getting third. And if we do that, that guarantees us knockout European football in the new year, albeit Conference League, which will be a big chance to have a deep run there. But honestly, there's a part of me that's thinking top two. Honestly, 6 points off the Israeli team for top two are an absolute must. Then you got to beat the French. You got to beat Rennes at Oaxaca, and then probably get a draw away. And there's 9? There's 10 points, and that should be enough for second. Then you got your Villarreal games as a free hit, and Villarreal, like I was saying to you guys off there, they're a shadow of the team they were 12 months ago. Yeah. They've lost their coach Emery. They lost their best defender Pau Torres. Jackson's gone. There's worrying signs there for them. And this first game that's coming up at a packed Oaxaca, again, I'm biased. They've played at the Bernabeu, the new camp. Bring them to a packed Oaxaca.
I actually agree with you, Nick.
I've got a good feeling.
I think that everything you said, I'm 100% in agreement with you. That the top two is definitely possible. If you ask me within minutes of the draw, I would have been, I'll take third. Because
me too.
They're all, on paper, were very strong. Even Maccabi Haifa's not.
Yeah.
I mean, if it was a 4-0, they beat Olympiacos.
No, 4-0. We cannot take them lightly. If we do, we're screwed.
But then as the days and weeks progressed, we saw what you just said. Villarreal is struggling off field. Rennes, from what I'm seeing, they haven't lost the game, but they're not exactly firing either in France.
For me, they're the unknowns. Just because I don't know much about them. The Israeli team I remember from last year, whereas Rennes, I don't know much about them.
Yeah, but I think Rennes, based on their form in France, and considering we put Marseille away, and Marseille's one of the favourites.
Much better. They must be much better than Rennes.
So, on paper, they're a much superior team. And Rennes is struggling to keep a clean sheet in most of their games. If I'm not right, Sturge, you probably know more than I do on that front.
Yeah, correct. Done a bit of homework on Rennes. So,
but yeah, no, look, Sturge, I want to hear from yourself as well because you've probably got more info on them. But I'm confident of the top two.
Yeah. Look, Villarreal, we've got a bit of history with them. So
time for revenge. Actually, unfinished business.
Yeah, they screwed us over last time.
I remember that.
Correct. So it's a bit of history. So obviously we haven't forgotten, and hopefully that spurs on the current core. Get some past players in there. Just give a pep talk. Just fire them up. First game is against Villarreal, so nothing but 3 points. I think the target should be 10 points if you want to progress in Europa. That's 10 points should see us through. So Villarreal, we get that. We start off the campaign with 3 points. That's good footing. They sacked their coach. They're not traveling too well. Paul Torres obviously gone. Jackson as well. So it just looks like they've been void of any quality. They've just lost their players and they just haven't seemed to recover. Rennes, they sold their best player to Man City.
Doku.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, that's right.
So he's gone. They are scoring a few goals, but they're leaking quite a few goals themselves. So they've had quite a few draws, especially against weaker opposition. And against 10 men, I believe, in one of the games against weaker opposition where they conceded and drew the game. So Rennes is being a bit shaky and definitely inferior to Marseille. So that should give us a bit of a... We shouldn't be worried, but we shouldn't also be we should be cautious of them as well. And obviously Haifa's done the damage. I haven't done my homework on Haifa, just based on last season, what they did to Olympiacos, home and away. No one saw that coming. They're going to be a bit of the boogie team. I feel. I think they can throw a spanner in how the group dictates. Whether they finish second, third, first, I think they're going to have a major say in the group of taking points from a lot of the teams, especially in Israel as well. I expect a bit more hostile there from their fans.
I think for me though, and each of the teams got a strength and weaknesses that we're up against. But what gives me most confidence is that Ivan in Europe is proven, and even in these first 3 rounds, he's shown that he's got the ability to take this team to the next level, and that's what probably makes me most confident. So, yep, it's good to say Villarreal's struggling at the moment, and Rennes got some question marks. Maccabi Haifa, I agree with you, Sturge. It's a big unknown. But the way Ivan's got this team playing, that's what gives me most confidence that any one of those teams we can win if we're on in a given day.
Absolutely. It's what you said before, that Braga second leg, it's the only time out of the 6 qualifying matches where we didn't score. 5 out of 6 games we scored. Now we've got that performance out of our system at home, hopefully, and honestly, it feels like our season starts now because we know our group. The first international break's over, transfer window's over, deadline day's passed in Greece, and now Jovanovic has had that extra time to prepare for Panathafan and Villarreal.
Yeah.
We'll be up for it. We will be up for this.
And let's talk now about the Greek League. So we've played 2 games, 2 wins, Volos at home, 3-0. That one was quite comfortable. That was like a training run. We had Seren opening the scoring off like a scrappy rebound. Forty and Verbic also got on the score list. And the other result was Basianena 1-0 away win. That was courtesy of a Palacios goal. That was the Argentine link-up. That was when Mancini found Palacios at the back post for the first time. It was a nice finish, and I'm being very happy with Palacios' form in the last few games. I think that attitude adjustment post Dinpro is starting to flourish a bit more. So watch for him this season. I think he will have an excellent season. I believe he's also coming off contract this season as well. So could be something that he's, trying to fight for as well. The review of the Wallace game was a training one. I don't think there's too much we can discuss. We'll comfortable the whole game. Sorry, not Lamia. It was the Pasiana game. Pasiana game, very dirty, very very dirty. They were very physical. Got away with quite a bit. Vainidis out for a month was the initial diagnosis. With a red card offense. That tackle was disgusting. And I think it was noted it was the first time we've gotten back-to-back wins at
Correct.
Yes.
Ghana. So what do you guys feel about how we've gone in the Greek league so far? 2 out of 2, thoughts and feelings?
First one, as you said, not really much to say other than training run. One of the most routine home wins we're going to have all season. We've got a knack of doing that against Volos. Second one, I've got a bit more to say because, as you said, they were very dirty. They came out to injure us, but we got the job done. And not only did we get the job done, we rotated quite a fair bit. Aral got a start. Palmer Brown played. It was crucial to win with a rotated squad.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Palmer Brown and Aral debuts were good and gave me comfort that we've got 2 decent players there from what the little we've seen so far. And I'm interested to see. I think Aral's going to get a lot more minutes in the Greek league than what Ruben will. And maybe Ruben's going to be saved for the European games. But it gives you comfort. We've got more depth now in that, certainly in the centre of the park with Aral, but in the back line of Palmer Brown, I think we've got a good backup there.
Speaking of Palmer Brown, I was just reading earlier today. He looks like he's going to be ready to go for this weekend's game against Panathafan. Whereas Jedvay he's training on his own. He's not training with a team. So if I was to guess, I'd say he misses that game.
So what about Magnuson and Schenkerfeld? Do you think that maybe one will miss?
Magnuson went away international break.
Yeah, okay.
So I'd be inclined to keep Magnuson fresh for Villarreal.
He was red carded out of the 2 games. He was red carded in the first game, so he'd be well rested.
Okay. The only thing then with Magnuson is the travel. That's it. If not, yeah, you can play.
Yeah, there was something interesting, especially about
the speaking of the international break. Quickly, Mladenovic had a blind over an international break. Yeah. I saw the Sofa score team of the round.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he blitzed it. Got a few assists.
Was it as a back or was left mid?
Mid.
As a mid, yeah.
Yeah.
Got that attacking persona about him. So, when you look at it, Ivan's deployed him as like a left back, left wing back. But I think he can be more threatening, getting into those more attacking spaces.
Well, he did start against Bus Yanina, if I'm not mistaken, as well, but probably limited what he can do on that sort of condition as well.
The pitch was not great, and we can talk all we can about how dirty and
the fact that we came our way with a win, we'll take it. I'm not going to worry too much about how pretty the game was. And at least we've got that game now already away and out of the way for the season. Yeah, and I can see certainly some of the other Big 4 clubs dropping points there.
Exactly. Outside of the Big 4, Big 5, that's one of the hardest, probably the hardest away trip in the league.
Yeah. Yep.
Mate, Offie, you could probably throw Offie in the mix. It's between those 2.
Yeah.
Offie and Bus.
I'd say they're harder than Offie, to be fair.
Yeah, at the moment, yeah.
Bus do make teams drop points.
And this weekend is going to be very interesting because you got Bulk playing Artis and you got Ike playing Olympiacos.
Mm.
Oh wow! Yeah, I wasn't even up to date with that, but wow, that's going to be good weekend because we've already seen Ike already drop points at home to Panathinaikos, which was quite the shock. I think Panathinaikos had a few outs. They were expected to get rolled over, but when looking at the Greek league, in general, I don't see Ake threatening at all this season at all. I think their defense is a massive liability. I don't think they reinforced too well. They just got some, was it Peruvian on loan from Spain that came from the MLS originally. I don't
What do
think.
you think of Olympiacos?
I think Olympiacos and us will go head to head for the title. Olympiacos,
They've improved.
yeah,
Big
they've
time.
got a footballing personnel in Corden, and he's identified really good young talent coming through, South Americans. Yeah, I'm a bit envious of that because when you look at our signings, signed in this window, everyone is about that. Apart from I think Gedway and Palmer Brown, like 30, so past 30. So they're bringing some young talent, and that's what our focus should be. We shouldn't be bringing these players past 30. We should be identifying talent and bringing them in. And I think what Olympiacos did this season compared to last season, I think they're gonna hit form very, very soon. I expect us and them to finish top two. Don't know which way. Hopefully it's us. But they've signed really well. I think they brought in a football guy and let him take over the signings. With us, who do we have? Papa Dimitriou. Like, what's he done? Like, I don't know if I'd probably grade him like a B minus. While you'd give Corden more like an A. I think the difference is, we've got Ivan.
I said that when we first announced that Papa Dimitriou, when we made those couple of early signings, then like Zudisic came, Ladenovic, I said, is this Papa Dimitriou or is this Jovanovic making the signings?
Yeah, so
and wasn't it? I think Panatha said it back then. Papa Dimitriou was a choice of Jovanovic. He hired him.
Yeah.
He had a say in it.
Yeah, he hired his own boss. Which, still to this day I shake my head about. But I think Sturge, you're on the money about Olympiacos, in my opinion, as well. I think they're really going to be a threat. Interesting, AEK drew the first game, and then again Vorlo, they were 2-2, and they scored in injury time to win it.
Penalty. Yeah.
So they certainly haven't set the world on fire in the first two games. And it's going to be interesting to see now against Olympiacos what they do, because that's at Hagia Sophia as well.
Yeah, correct.
So if they drop points there, they're off to a pretty slow start.
They copped a short straw, didn't they, with the Europa League group, because they were top four like us.
They copped it by far away the worst group in terms
that could have been us.
Yeah, absolutely. So
that's what I mentioned. Like, we could have gotten like a really nightmare group, but they really got the nightmare group, and I don't want to slag them off too much because we are talking about Panathafan, but we've moved our game for them. They put a request, and their coach had obviously come out last season and said that they've got enough personnel for 2 squads, and now he's complaining about fixture congestion, all this stuff. So I don't think all is well in at near Philadelphia. I wouldn't be thinking Ake will be threatening too much. I definitely see a drop off big time from
Balk.
Balk for me, it's been a bit of an unknown actually. I think they've got the potential to do quite well.
They can throw a spanner in the works.
Yeah, but at the same time, I'm not sure how stable they are, because they seem to be pretty hot and cold in the games we've seen.
They've dropped points. Who did they drop? They lost to Offie, wasn't it?
Yes.
I think they lost to Offie. I think 3-2.
Yes. And that's the thing. Like, you'd expect big things from Park. Costandelias and the defender would have got another year experience, so they're coming a little bit more mature. They've got Zivkovic, who is probably one of the top 4 or 5 players of the league. He's an outstanding player. Like, I'd love him at Panathinaikos. So just put that out.
They also made a good signing. What's he? Despotov.
Yeah, for the Bulgarian international. He did miss a penalty. He did miss a penalty for Bulgaria. But and Bulk poached him from the grasps of Olympiacos, so he was almost Olympiacos bound. So that one's a bit interesting, but yeah, I don't know. Bulk's one of those weird teams where they've got gun players, but for some reason drop points here and there. So I expect them still to be up there towards the end, and they're going to cause big problems as per usual. But
out of the big 4 away games, going to Tumba, I'd say still probably the hardest.
yes, yeah, correct.
I think that I could agree with that point, but we seem to struggle most at Garaskaki, to be fair.
Yeah.
We seem to pull off results more often than not.
Last season we did.
Yeah. So Garaskaki though, getting a win there is pretty rare.
Yeah.
In my opinion, anyway. So, but coming back to in terms of Panathafan this weekend and just more moving forward for the Greek League, what I like about this season is that, okay, we've got no Vayanidi, got Kotsura. Okay, Kotsura for me is nowhere near the quality of what we've seen so far, but Juancar's out, Mladenovic is in. Palmer Brown instead of Yedvai, got Aral instead of Ruben. All of a sudden we actually got backup players or new players coming in, and I'm not worried about the quality of coming in. Whereas last season, like you lose Ruben, we're stuffed. We're going to rely on Chuck Guy, or lose Bernard, and all of a sudden, what have we got in the midfield? And that's where I'm probably a lot more confident this season, in that our depth is solid enough for me not to be worried about rotating the squad around.
Yeah, and to add to that, so it was reported that Yedvai has been training as a right back. So he's a versatile defender. He can play anywhere across the back line. He has been training as a right back. So just keep an eye on that space as well.
That's a good point.
Where Yedvai starts and plays, obviously, could be the backup for Kortiras. They might alternate until Vayanidis is back. But yeah.
And we haven't seen Kleinheisler really much yet. I mean, I know he's been injured, and that's more depth we've got, whether it's on the wing or whether it's in the center of the park. So, and Cherin's really hasn't really played much in Europe, has he? Because he's been injured as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing with our midfield is stacked. So during the transfer window, we did loan him out to Atromitos, I think, or Tripolis, one of the two.
Who's this?
Sokai. So we do
Is that confirmed? He's definitely left? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, has he? Okay, I didn't see that.
There were rumors to Astera, so I wasn't sure if it was confirmed.
I'm pretty sure that one was confirmed. He's out, because we do have that stacked midfield.
I was going to ask, what do you guys think of Vilena so far?
I think it's weird. I expect good things from him, and I still do. I think he's covering a lot of ground, that midfield. But yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen quality from him. I'm
with you.
Yeah, I'd say that too early to make a call, to be fair to him. But if I was to make a call today, he hasn't lived up to the price tag or
he needs
experience
to start now,
or the hype. No, he hasn't. Not even close.
But the thing for him is he came like just after mid preseason, so he didn't get that preseason with us to his defense, and he played a lot of minutes and has covered a lot of ground straight away off the bat. Like, he was just thrown in there, so got to give him credit for that as well.
Yeah, and that's, you're 100% right. So it's unfair for me to be critical of him because of those reasons. No preseason, as you said, Bobby's still catching up, and in terms of formation and structure, understanding the team and how they work. So, but I can't say he set the world on fire thus far.
Yeah, no, that's what exactly. It's not that he's been bad. I just expect more from him. We need more from him as well.
I had a couple of glimpses of, you see quality there, but then there's been a couple of times where, like, really bad miscues of passes. So, yeah, I think it's a space to watch out for with him, see how he goes. And like we said, we've got a stacked midfield that many players can come in. Seren's on form again for Slovenia. He's playing really well for the national team. So I was a bit more critical of his performances towards the back end of last season, where I felt his gameplay was a bit negative. If he can promote that positive gameplay about him, he's already got one goal. It doesn't matter how scrappy it was. He was there for the rebound, then he put it away. So, that's going to give him confidence moving forward. But, we do have a stacked midfield. We got players that are coming through. Vayanidis is always, we said that the player that we looked out for at the in our first podcast that we're going to see improvement. We all called you Vayanidis, and I think he's got the lock on right back. There was always those rumors that we're going to sign a right back, but I don't think we need to sign a right back.
I think a lot of non-Panathinaikos supporters are going to be pleasantly surprised by Vayanidis. He's still, everyone, like, for the Ethniki, no one's really talking about him. To be the backup to Bulldog, he's much better than all these other guys.
Yeah, from what I saw with the Ethniki, Urotak took that right back position the 2 games. Ubeltra, could have gotten anyone from Park Soccer and they would have done a half decent job. But you can tell his quality, especially against Holland. There was a few miscues with him and Masuras. They weren't really linking, threatening. I felt like, now talking about Greece, the Greek attack was mainly threatening from the left-hand side, but I just felt like that's because Urota is not offering that much.
That's
I
right.
felt you put Vayanidis there and, he'll get in that.
I agree.
So the other one is Mancini, who's obviously had some great games in Europe so far. And there was that rumor of a Russian club offering what, 5.5 million.
6.5 million was the
6.5, was it?
Reported offer. Which there was obviously I called bullshit on when they were saying he wanted out because he didn't play against Dnipro or didn't start. Like that was completely bullshit. And now there's that chat of it wasn't actually a Russian club that came in for him. We're holding out for a little bit more. So we'll see how this European campaign goes, what it does for his profile as well. Because he definitely is a gun player. He's probably we're gonna rely on him to get most of our threats. In Europe, him, even Palacios. I'm expecting big things from Palacios.
How old is Mancini? He's in his 20s.
Yeah. He's mid-20s.
Okay.
He's got years ahead of him.
He's got a bit of upside there. So it's one that we could potentially cash in and make good money off. If indeed they're offering 6.5, which I question if that's true or not, but let's assume it's true. Have a good European campaign, Europa League against the clubs we talked about. There's no reason why we can't get a little bit more coin for him at his age.
Yeah, definitely agree on that. And there's also been that chat where Belgium clubs have inquired about 40. Our valuation was 10 million from what the report said as well. So we'll see about that.
And then we've got our new signing.
Yes. Let's talk about the new signing, Nikas. So Leverkusen player, 24, almost 25 years old. Former teammate of 40, funny enough. So 40 will be happy to have a new frappe drinking buddy. He lost Skurbelis. Now you have Nikas, but Nikas is a midfielder. He's been loaned back to Leverkusen for the full season, which I'm kind of fine with because our midfield is stacked. It's kind of a weird signing. So he can operate as a midfielder, attacking midfielder, but he's built like he's really solid. The scouting reports, what people say, he plays like a little bit of that Fellaini sort of build. Interesting signing. As I incorrectly said, it was our first Greek signing. It's actually our second. Zeka was our first.
But you're right.
Technicality.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting one because, and I've raised it with us in our chats where it's a strange one because why did we sign him? Is it because of Fuzos's relationship with Leverkusen? Are we just banking on players, no player retention, players coming off contract. So we're expecting Bernard to leave after this season. I don't think we'll retain him. There's always that he's always wanted to go back to Brazil. So kind of gap there. It's a strange one. I'm not upset about it, but I'm not overly excited about it because we just don't know how he's going to be. He's going to, sit in Super League 2, get his game time, then come over.
Yeah, and as you said, an unknown. I'd imagine low risk. His wages when he comes across won't be sky high. Surely not. I don't know why we signed him. We'll find out. His age, he's young. I'm not saying he's old by any means. He's young, but he's not a young kid either. By the time he comes next season, he'll be what, 25? Is that a worry? He's been at Levadia his whole career. Can he make the step up to Panathinaikos? Time will tell. But as you said, he's a big unit. He's very built, and it's interesting. We've signed Arao in that position, and now Nikas. Is that something Jovanovic has seen and addressed? Is that another reason why we signed him?
I think he's more of I saw that little YouTube clip where he talks, the interview for like 3-4 minutes that the club's released, and he talks himself about as being more of a number 8 or a number 10.
Yeah.
He gets more attacking. Yeah, and ours sits more deeper.
6.
Yeah, he's a 6. So for me, putting aside my thoughts about the relationship between Alafuzo and is it Gumboti?
Of course.
So put that to one side. Him as a signing, I really questioned at the start, and I wasn't sure about it. Then I look at next year, who would you rather have, someone like him or someone like a Kleinheisler as a sort of second or third choice? And I thought, you know what, I'd probably prefer young Greek talent. The relative, right? So I was like, I'll probably take him if he shows some potential. Then why loan him out to the second? Granted, he stays in his own club, but second division loan, that to me is the part I scratch my head over. Like, okay, if you don't have a room in your squad where you roster this year, I get that because you seem to be quite stacked in midfield. I think Sturgy mentioned that. But surely we could have done something better than just leave him in a second division club. To test him in the Super League, send him to a Volo because we seem to have a relationship with them, or send him to any one of the other Super League clubs and see what they think, or if indeed they are interested. And that's the part I sort of scratch my head over.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. But he's been a player that we've been monitoring for the last 2 years. It's just why wait now to make that signing when why wait now and then just loan him back to Division 2? So it's a bit of a head scratcher. So all in time, I guess. We'll know more next year. But as I said, at least 40 was happy. He's got his frappe drinking buddy now.
As long as just frappedes and nothing, no bitters and bit of gyro there as well.
That guy looks so ripped. I think he's on like a carnivore diet or something. He's just
he's better than the average person. He's better than me, that's for sure.
But yeah, I want to go more into the miscellaneous topic right now, where we just discuss open anything Panathinaikos, because there's a few things that I've seen Roma do that I'd love Panathinaikos to do. Play announcements, so big players, they do them by the Colosseum. We should be utilizing, as the Athenian club, the Acropolis as Panathinaikos. Player signings, big players, just like that whole serenade sort of thing, that whole introduction in front of the Acropolis, because the Acropolis is part of Athens and it is ours. Yeah, Olympiacos has done tifos, anything like that, laying claim to. Like
money.
Kind of corny. Yeah, they can just do like a boat or something, or the Titanic or something. But
it's in our name.
Exactly. So I'd love for us to just utilize the Acropolis and just do that whole serenade. Like if you YouTube Dybala, that one, also Lukaku as of recent, it's just brilliant. They must watch. So we should be doing stuff like that.
Okay, that's a good point. Very good point. Because we just seem to mix and match and do different stuff all the time. We're not consistent, are we?
No.
The graphics are improving.
Right? The graphics have the Acropolis, but you're right. They should do more with it in person. That is announcements and that there.
Yes, but there was something earlier that we discussed about that 40's positioning. That he's more of a complementary sort of forward. It's something I'd love to see him link up, play more games with Sporter as a. I don't know how you adjust that formation, but like a 4-4-2. You see Sporter. Sporter had a great international weekend. Scored a couple, assisted a couple. He played next to Sesko. Obviously, Sesko's like the next big talent. So if you're keen on European football, he's one to watch out for. But yeah, Sporter did get some nice one-on-one finishes. If you watch his second finish, now it's an insult to compare it, but it was very Ronaldo-esque finish where he the Brazilian Ronaldo that is, where one-on-one with the keeper, just that fainted, that fake shot, put the keeper on his ass, just dribbled around him and just slotted it in. It was a really good finish. So it's good to see that Sporter just went away. I think he had a bit of a torrid time, especially since that open goal miss against Braga, where some portion of the fans turned on him. That would have shot his confidence as well. Go away with Slovenia, come back with a few goals, a few assists in that sort of 4-4-2 formation. I believe the Slovenian team deploy something that we maybe, or if you ever thinks about, I think Sporter might thrive there, and I think we might see the best out of both Forty and Sporter. Where as I believe, Forty is that complementary forward where he can be feeding Sporter, because Sporter can make those runs. Well, if you see his goals, he made the right runs. So it's just seeing how that whole thing works out, or if Jova will push to a 4-4-2.
I think it was someone in our group chat who said that the style of play that Slovenia have suits Spora better versus Panathinaiko and Ivan's style of play. So, and I can't, was it? It could have been Andoni in our chat. Either way, and I think more I think about it, more I think that's a great call. He's not a bad player. He's shown that he's got the capability of playing at a good level. But certainly it doesn't seem to match or suit our structure the way we want him. And I think that no matter how much we persevere with him, I just don't think he's ever going to be the perfect fit for us. Now, I'm not quite sure what that perfect fit looks like in terms of an example of a player, but unfortunately, I can't say it being him. But he'll probably still score 10, 12 goals this year in the Super League, and he may score a couple more in Europa, but we just don't seem to have the confidence that he's going to win a game off his own boot as much as we'd like. Not like a Berg or not like a Cisse back in the day.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree there. I think he's a good player. Don't get me wrong. I think he's a good player, but I think his style of play, where I believe he's more used to a supporting striker, having that support, where he does make those selfish runs. I think if you had that player off him, that player off him would be able to drag a defender or two, and he'd probably get better deliveries, more opportunities to go one-on-one with the defender or with the keeper. But yeah, Jova's the coach. Obviously, Jova's paid, and he's got the experience to take the team forward. So can't disagree there. But it's something that personally I'd like to see a little bit more of, just how a 4-4-2 would work. Obviously, Seren as well has shown quite good form in the Slovenian team, especially with that 4-4-2. So that's something that I wanted to just point out as more of the miscellaneous sort of side in our discussion.
He'll probably start Sporter against Villarreal.
Yeah.
He'd have to. He'd have to.
You'd have to. I agree.
Then Ioannidis will play against Panathinaikos. He'll start against Panathinaikos.
At what point in time do we see Jeremiah?
Cup games.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm keen to see him. just so I can turn around and say, okay, he's got a little bit more potential. Let's use him more, or he's an absolute dud. Just get rid of it.
He scored a lot of goals last season in Sweden, remember? Was it He was the top scorer
He was
recently
top
in their
scorer.
league.
Yeah, so he can score goals. I mean, I don't know how good the Swedish league is, to be fair, but he certainly can score. There's no question about it.
And he scored a few or a couple in preseason. One was like a very good hit as well outside the box. So I think he scored 2 goals. One was like outside the box, and there was one like a striker's finish, just placement around the past the keeper.
Probably seems to be, from the little I've seen. Again, I'm no expert. He seems to be more of a poacher compared to a scorer. And I don't know if that's going to be a better fit for our team. Look, I'm not holding my hopes up in terms of him being our saviour, far from it. But I'd like to see at least what he's got and see if he's going to be more of a regular feature in the Super League games. Because I think Footy's certainly going to be getting minutes in the European games, whether it's as a sub or potentially as a starter as well.
Yeah. There was also chat, I don't know how accurate it was, that we were looking to offload Jeremejeff as well. I think there was talks about Bulk was interested in acquiring him. Not too sure how accurate they were. There was that chatter, obviously deadline chatter. Everyone's just trying to get clickbait around. Even if you're following the reports that have just come out today, we were linked to a Cypriot winger, Gavril, from Apoel, 19, 20 years old, can play on both wings. We apparently acquired like right on the deadline of the deadline, so like within the hour, by the time Apoel got the response to us after us leaving it so late, it didn't go through. So those talks of we're looking at him and bringing him in to go into the B team and watch his development from there. So that's obviously something to keep an eye on. And I saw that from 2 different sources. So as much as a lot of these accounts, there's quite a few propaganda accounts. Once you get 1 or 2 that are actually, or 2 or more that are consistent with what they're saying, there's a little bit more accuracy in how that report is. But apparently we bombed that one, approaching them last minute.
And then there's the Mexican that we're interested in, supposedly.
Yeah, I can't remember his name, but he looks like he's got a good start in Mexico. He's a young, 24-year-old right wing.
Yes.
When I looked at him, I can't remember his name. It looked like this season is off to a hot start in Mexican league. So I don't know where that one came from.
Nick, I think he says Dominguez. Is that right?
Dominguez, yeah, Juan B, something like that.
Juan Pablo.
Something.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
Oh, as you guys were saying, it's just paper talk for now.
I'd love to see that happen, though. I mean,
absolutely.
Just that young Mexican talent that can absolutely flop, but if it comes off in a really big way. They're the sort of signings that get me excited.
The Mexicans have done well in Greece so far. I have hit a couple of good ones. Yeah.
So we were interested. Was it Antuna that we were interested in?
Yes,
that was last season. Yeah, where they wanted, was it like 6 million? We only offered way less than that.
So I was watching the Mexico-Australia international friendly the other day, and he was on the right-hand side for Mexico. And it, to me, made a positive impression. And I was like, well, okay, if we had this guy on the right, I would have been very happy. So that's probably one good example where the Mexican talent's there. There's no question about it. Are they reliable? That's another question altogether.
So that's what we've been saying. We want these, I know we've said South American, but those Central South American, those young Central South American players to come in. That's what we should be identifying as our talent pool.
Agree. 100% agree. And that's where, if we're going to get, as a club that wants to generate revenue from sales as well, then really should be targeting those sort of markets because there's not enough Greek talent to be able to do that.
Yeah, it looks like the Greek talent has really gone downhill. Bulk's doing all right with their academies. They've got like 80% of the under 21s or the under 19s Greek squad, but we've only got, I think, like one or two players, which is quite disappointing compared to like what we used to produce. So,
But I think the Greek talent has now recognised they're better off going abroad early on in the piece and trying their luck. And you boys may know better than I do, but wasn't Duvica in the Super League and really no one wanted him?
He was at Volos. He played for Volos in the
Yeah.
Super.
And no one really showed the interest in him. That's where he went then abroad, and look at him now.
at Celta Vigo, yeah, 12 million euro, I believe it was, the transfer, and he still can't get the call up from Gus, which is a head scratcher.
Yeah, that's mind
Big
blowing.
head scratcher. And I think you guys at Hellas 40 may have discussed that. So
We did at length, yeah.
that's a head scratcher.
And then you got the keeper from Offie who went to Lazio.
Oh, Mandas.
Mandas, yeah. So
we'll also link to him as well.
we were.
His
And I
name
would love to have seen him come, to be fair, because I can't see Brignoli staying, unfortunately, next summer because he'll be offered some big dollars.
There's talks that we want to retain him. I saw something on that. Obviously, once again, Greek media, but there was something pointing that Panathinaikos want to retain him.
I'll add to that in the Greek media, it'd say that Saudi Arabian clubs are interested in him.
Oh, no.
So I don't know what you want to make of that, but
Alafuzos has to go toe-to-toe with him.
He'll probably offer less than what he's on.
Imagine negotiations between them and Alafuzos.
yeah, no, I can't say that going too well.
That's yeah. But yeah, we've got the Greek league obviously returning back this week. So as you guys pointed out, Mike Olympiacos, who do you think is going to get that?
I'd love a draw.
Look, I would agree. I don't want to say either team win, but you probably have to give Olympiacos the edge at the moment based on form.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
The way they both drop points.
Yeah, the draw would be ideal, and obviously, seeing Sotiris having a horrendous game
At 2
for Orly would be the most ideal situation because, if you're not aware, Sotiris Alexandropoulos went from Sporting, signed for Olympiacos on loan after he pretty much said he doesn't want to return to the Greek league, and then obviously he's kissing or just promoting the Philos badge, and then yeah, that has left a really sour taste for me. Really, really sour taste. His actions. So,
And being a Greek, he knows the implications of that. If it was like Senna, you can say, "Oh, a foreign player doesn't really fully appreciate what it means."
yeah,
He knew exactly what he's done.
Yeah.
exactly. Kissing the badge, saying that he wouldn't play for another Greek team, and then going to our biggest rivals. That's
coming through the ranks as well at the club. It's not like he was around for 1 second.
But it'd be interesting because obviously his loan has a buy option, and there's in our clause with Sporting, we've got the sell-on fee. I think that 25%. So
yeah,
interesting to see where that goes. If Olympiacos will proceed with the sale or proceed with the buying as well. Do you guys have anything in the miscellaneous section for the football side?
Football side, as I said earlier, the crowd want to keep an eye on it. We're heading towards a sellout, I believe, for Villarreal. Again,
Ike's already sold out.
Ike sold out, and I think I can't remember. I read conflicting reports that the people who got a ticket for that Ike game, they somehow benefited. Was it free entry for Villarreal or discounted?
Yeah, there's a lot of
something along those lines.
There's a lot of complaints about ticket pricing at the moment. I think that's why they may have done it. If you
I
saw
think the
the
ticket prices are much cheaper for this
They
game.
come down. Yeah, that's what I was going to
Yeah,
say.
much
I've seen
cheaper.
tickets for like €20.
Yeah,
but
15,
after
20
the
euros.
Braga
15 I've seen,
debacle,
yeah.
after the Braga debacle, those prices were ridiculous.
I think being Europa, though, that plays a role rather than Champions League.
I think that they cashed in on the Champions League,
Yeah.
and now they realise that they can't get away with it.
Yeah.
But in terms of the crowd, I'm sure both you boys have seen that YouTube clip. Was it Fiago, the German YouTuber?
I have.
How good is it to see someone who's got such a wide reach and many subscribers promoting our club in such a way, where he's in love with our club? He's openly talking about and saying how amazing the atmosphere was for an Olympic stadium. So it's always good to get that international recognition for our club and the European scene.
That's what it's all about. We want to be competitive and challenging in Europe because we are the most successful Greek club in Europe, and lifting the brand name again and trying to get on a level playing foot with the rest of our rivals in Greece.
Exactly. Yep. And that's the power of social
media. That's the end goal. Yeah.
That's the power of social media. So you got Fiago. So you do have those kind of accounts. You've got also on Twitter, Panathafan Brazil. He does very well. From Brazil, tweets a lot. Or his account's mainly dedicated to Panathinaikos. He's trying to get a small gathering there. You see some other like Panathinaikos friends accounts. So that's the power of social media. So the more the merrier, obviously.
But our club's finally getting that recognition again after many years, and people are realizing again, this is a big club. This is a club with very proud history. This is a club where we leave our mark, whether we win or lose or draw. You like, we've got a foreigner coming to Athens to watch us play and walking away saying, "Wow, how cool is that?" I mean, I don't think there'll be too many clubs in Greece that are going to be able to do that for a foreign fan like him. And he had no prior connection to Panathinaikos other than some online competition or game he organised.
I don't think that was an act either that he was putting on. I think he was genuinely blown away by the atmosphere.
Yep. So,
but that's more of a testament to how the club has grown under Ivan and the fans, really, because from a commercial point of view, the club, how it's being operated under the current regime, it's been a joke. It's really been a testament to Ivan, the players that he's bringing in, especially last season, how so close we were. Obviously, he got the Greek Cup on his debut season. Even the fans have been, throughout last season, the backing that they gave the club the whole way. Those, the Bordius, as I said, Volos, selling out Volos, things like that. Testament to the people that are helping build that club, and it's not coming from the owners or people running the club.
Yeah, the thing, and I'm sure you'll both agree with me. The point I want to make is, I think Sturge, you mentioned Panathinaikos Brazil, Panathinaikos France, us. Yeah. I mean, we're the crazy ones that get up at 3:30 in the morning to watch our club play on a work day. There is a worldwide love for this club. We are a perfect example of that. We're doing these podcasts and we're taking our own personal time out purely for the love of the club. And that's where I think that we're doing it despite some of the shortcomings of our management team. And I think all of us should be proud of the fact that we've kept this club alive and kept this club going in terms of the brand name that we are.
Not only that, during the dark times too, the crowds of 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 those days at Oaka, us that never lost interest, never lost hope from long distance abroad.
Yeah,
we're the ones that deserve it.
Absolutely, and especially coming to us.
A couple of thousand that kept going to the games in Athens at an empty Oaka back then.
Yeah. I just wish we had like a little bit friendlier time zones to watch the games, and with daylight saving coming up, I think what our games will be about 5 a.m.
Villarreal will be 5 a.m.
Now, Villarreal, sorry, for us is 2:40 5 a.m.
Is it? I thought
Yeah.
it was 5. Okay.
No, they brought it. I think it's because of their clash of Ake, maybe that.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's an earlier game.
Oh, jeez. When the times change, though, the late games are going to be 7 a.m. kickoffs.
So I actually went in and the other day and looked at the times for all our European games, and you're right. The game in December, I can't remember who it was against, is 7 a.m. on a Friday morning. Which I know for people outside of Australia, I think, oh, that's not good. For us, it's brilliant. It means we can get up at a decent time and watch the game. I just got to explain to work that maybe a few minutes late because of that.
This stage now the early season games for us, the Greek league's not as good in Europe. It's more so like the Premier League, for example. You get those Saturday night 9:30 games. It's when the times change and the Greek, like when we go 9 hours with Greece instead of the 7 hours, that's when it's better.
Yeah.
But in terms of if I compare us to our American cousins who love the club, they've got a much more friendlier time zone.
They've got it easy.
Yeah,
the only downside with what they have to cop is it could interfere. It could be like middle of the day, I think, on a work day. Like the European games for them must be Thursday during the day, wouldn't they?
Yeah, it will be Thursday during the day, but their Greek league games will be Sunday during the day.
Yeah, that's right.
So yeah, they do benefit from that. While we cop the wake up work to struggle all day.
There's something special about it though. Waking up in especially these early season games in the cold, middle of the night, you celebrate a goal. There's something I like about that. I don't know what it is. I've always loved it.
The European games, they are special.
Yeah.
It's worthwhile. I think though, 2:30 on a Sunday morning in the winter, I do struggle. Maybe because I'm a bit older. But yeah.
Yeah.
Playing against a Panathafan
Oh, Allah, absolutely, yeah.
at 2:30 in the morning. Yeah. My body can't cope like it used to.
No, and I think we struggled a lot, especially during the playoffs last season. Those constant games.
Remember that? It's like that 10 games.
High emotion as well.
Emotion that took that consumed me. Honestly, that's all I was thinking about by the end of it. It took over, and all the games they banked up. It was like a 6-7 week period where it was just brutal for us time wise.
So we've got a few challenging times ahead in terms of getting to sleep before the European games as well, combined with the Super League. Let's bring it on.
Yeah.
I do want to call out also the Adidas jerseys that we got. So was in Greece. They do look good. Up front, they do look good. So I managed to get the white one. Thank God for Adidas. You can tell the quality of the Adidas jersey over the Kappa jersey. Better fits as well. I believe Kappa made smaller fits.
They're tight fitting.
Yeah, the Adidas ones are great fits. Believe they're also made of recyclables as well, the jerseys. So anyone sitting on the wall, sitting on the fence regarding getting a jersey, I do recommend if you're arming and R-ing, they are good jerseys. They do look good. So I do have the white one. Unfortunately, they didn't have the font style, the Adidas font style, ready, but highly recommend.
You should wear it for the next podcast, Serge. I wouldn't mind seeing it.
I got this one, the Panathinaikos since
Notice that.
1908.
Yeah.
So got this T-shirt from the store. Obviously, I tried reaching out to a couple of Gate 13 clubs, but being summer, it's just almost impossible to get hold of them.
You should be added to the marketing team, Serge, in terms of some of the free promotions done on this podcast for the club.
Probably doing a better job than the club is at the moment. Just like I said, the club needs a bit of a clean slate and just bring in footballing and just people that love the club.
It's good to hear though the jerseys. The white for me is the pick of the lot, but it's good to hear that they're a good fit and all that. That they're nice in person. The green, the home, has grown on me. I was probably a bit too critical of it early on.
Yeah, I thought there was some weird shadings from the TV when I saw the green jersey, but when you see it up front, it's like, oh no, it's actually pretty good looking. It's a pretty good looking jersey, but the white had me.
Okay, I might have to do an online search for one.
But the third jersey and the home jersey are very similar.
Yeah, it's like a different shade of green. That's it.
They both have that hexagonal.
Yeah, just a different shade of green.
Yeah, but apart from that, yeah, the white jersey was just a nice, clean jersey. There was on the more miscellaneous side, there was something funny I did see on a meme on Twitter as well before we talk about basketball about Nikas because our back sponsor also has Nikas. So
Oh yeah.
someone made a bit of a joke. Do we just only keep one? Or are we gonna call him Nikas from now on? So it's a bit of a parody about that.
Few more jokes at the sponsor's expense coming our way, but looks it. That's all right. They don't mind it. They're getting free publicity.
Also, now with the basketball, the preseason has started. A lot of positive talk. So if you love your basketball, a lot of positives from the current team. It looks like we have about 3, 4 playmakers, a lot of good ball movement. I think last 2, 3 years, our attack has been really stagnant. The Euro League has changed the way it's no longer low scoring. It's still technical, but teams are getting better shooting. They're shooting much better, moving the ball faster. The athleticism is obviously not the NBA level, but very technical. Probably more technical than the NBA, no doubt about that. But of course, with their acquisitions that they brought in, those are just has been reported injury. They're monitoring his injury. We still have one slot left. There's rumors on who we're going to bring. Mihailuk, I believe, has signed with Celtic. He was the front runner, but there's still the rumors persisting about Dorsey. Kalathis is staying with Fenerbahce because they had an injury to one of their key players, which means Kalathis is now will stay. So we'll see what kind of bum DPG will do. But in terms of the basketball, a lot of positive talk. Think it was I can't remember who. Someone hit like a double double. A lot of positive in the way our attack is has been structured by Ataman. The schedule did come out as all for the basketball league, and when you compare the basketball league, the Greek basketball league, with our Euro League, looks like we're going to have 3 matches within the month of Olympiacos. So that's going to be fun. I believe we have them early on in the season as well. I think like the 4th round. So going to be interesting. There's no doubt we'll be absolute strong favourites, but obviously they're not going to make it nice and peaceful, especially for Slukas's return, who has been outstanding in the preseason. I think leadership, just ball movement, that experience. Shooting can be a little bit better. Obviously, it's preseason, so he'll get there. But just that ball movement, really positive to see from Panathinaikos last season. If you watch the EuroLeague, you're relying on 1, 2 players to do something. Teams were reading us. We were poor in scoring. We conceded a fair bit, but now with the personnel that we've brought in, we're expecting Final Four. We're expecting Final Four from Panathinaikos. That's in EuroLeague, and I expect us to blow out the Greek League. I absolutely expect us to blow it out.
If I can maybe call out a couple of players, I just want to comment on Mitoglu. From what we saw before the Ethniki, before he got injured, and I think it was sort of pre-tournament friendlies, looked like he was in good form. Looked like he was making a positive contribution, even though he's been off for a long period of time, which is really good because he can play a really important role for us. And the Polish centre,
Yeah,
Balcharovsky, I think his name is.
yeah. I struggle
Yeah,
with his name.
yeah. So do I. But either way, he's certainly showing some really good signs. He's he's in form. So there's two signings that weren't necessarily going to be our starting five, but yet looks like they're going to really make a presence in this team, which is great to see.
Yeah, if you watch the friendlies or even highlights, the Polish centre is going to be a very physical presence. He's not one to be bullied in the paint. He's gonna get a lot of rebounds. He's gonna be that very physical presence. Even Kosa Antetokounmpo, someone I didn't have too much high hopes as being showing up in the friendlies. Okay, they're friendlies, but it's good to see early signs from those kind of players as well.
And a bit of frustration of mine, so I'm just going to vent on this podcast. I did try to watch the Ethniki games to catch some of our players, like Mitoglu, but obviously he got injured. And my frustration is for the Australian fans out there, KO, who promised us every game of the tournament being shown live, and yet 2 games of our Ethniki were not being shown. So there's my frustration. They were showing South Sudan instead. So that's enough of a rant for me. South Sudan versus Greece. Come on, guys. Seriously. We're talking about a huge Greek population here, and you're showing us South Sudan.
Jeez, that's pretty cool.
They were relatively friendly times watching them from Greece, while what the world thing was in the Philippines. They were relatively good times for us to watch it in Europe. So it was good to see Germany, the world champions, not the NBA fraudulent where they call themselves world champions. But it's
I think to be fair though, that the Americans didn't take it as seriously. I think the Olympics next year? The Olympics
next year, Paris.
Yeah, I think that's where we'll probably
They're
see.
building a super team. They got embarrassed. They expected to walk in the park with the roster that they did. They brought in a few handy players, like Anthony Edwards is, a machine. But
I think we all know that. I think the talk is next year: LeBron, Kevin Durant, Stephen Curry,
Devin Booker.
Yeah. Now,
Yeah, they're going for
to
gold.
yeah.
They want to do their own version of The Last Dance. So,
but in saying that, though, I mean, we didn't have Sluka, we didn't have Yanni. Although I'm not a huge fan of Galati, we didn't play either. So, we were far from our best as well. So, if I bring it back to Panathafan, it's good for someone. And Costa and Antetokounmpo, I think, was injured as well and didn't go to the Ethniki too. So there is certainly scope for our players to get more of an exposure through the Ethniki. And you know what? Maybe I want to be a little bit selfish here and say I wasn't too disappointed if Sluka decided to rest and not go to the World Tournament and concentrate on pre-season with us, which is probably going to be a huge year for him this year.
Yeah, definitely. There's high expectations from him. He's on big money. He's being made the captain, I believe, of the team as well. He's got the experience. He's not young either, so he obviously needs to take care of his body this season. He's got a big point to prove as well. Obviously, the Oli fans have turned on him, so he's got a bit of a point to prove to Oli, even justify his pay packet to us as well.
Fingers crossed we can make him silence.
And that's the positive thing. I think you're looking at both sporting organizations where they're both on the rise. Whether you prefer bala over or football over basketball, it's a good time for the Silogov Panathinaikos in both departments that they're on the rise. One obviously thanks to good coaching, and the other one thanks to his inflated ego. Whatever floats their boat. Panathinaikos is on the rise, and I think we've had disappointment the last 5-6 years, but this season is on both ends something really we can look forward to some positive viewing.
I'm very confident we'll be celebrating success at some point with either club.
I've got no doubt about the basketball side, but it's the football side where we're starved. I think we're on 10, 11 years now without trophies. So, or domestic title, the the championship. So that's what we need. All right. Anyone want to add anything?
Agreed.
Just what I was gonna add is, as we mentioned at the top of the show, more podcast related. We've been quite busy recently, had a bit of a hiatus. We're back now, as we said. It feels like the season's begun in earnest. We're gonna try and get the listeners more involved. We'll try and get some questions out. A tweet to you guys to send us some questions.
Yeah, definitely. That's a good shout out. We're probably more interactive on our socials, especially through X or Twitter. So if you don't have an account, quick free sign up. We're very active there. Tweet to us, comment on our Insta, comment on our Facebook. Just we'll post. The content has been consistent. If you've got any questions, anything like that, just reach out. Get active in polls. Just justify your poll response as well. Good fun. It's always good to hear everyone's viewpoints. You learn from each other as well, and you build that community where Johnny A might see a post from Stuffy B about something, then they obviously become following each other because they agree. It's like you build a community through that. So get involved, get following, get posting, get commenting, whatever. Just let's grow the community.
I have a question that maybe is worthy of a poll. And that is, who do we think is going to start as our striker against Villarreal, Spora or Forti? Because whilst I think we were saying Spora, there's a fair bit of different opinion out there. So I wouldn't mind hearing what our listeners out there would think as well.
Oh, it's different what the fans want compared to what Jovanovic will do.
No, absolutely.
So should we question it on who do you think will start or who do you want to start?
Who do you want to
Who
start?
do you want to start?
I think we're going to get a very strong one-sided poll with that. So I think I'm more than happy to just go, who do you think will start?
Not sure. Not so sure. Yeah.
And that's why we're not too sure who, but
happy to see it either way.
and we'll try and get some more podcasts. Obviously, even our American friends, they've got a few travels, few busy as well. So even we'll try and get more consistent with the shows as well. Even if we do a couple in a row, whatever. It's good to be back. It's obviously good to be chatting with Panathafan, with Nick as well. So thank you very much for tuning into this episode. We look forward to any feedback and any interactions. Take care. Thank you.